Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today, I'm looking at Incredible Hulk 359. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Daryl, and I am continuing the Peter David run of The Incredible Hulk. Before I get started, though, I have to give a quick apology to my friend Dave of West Coast Avengers. Dave and I recorded this together. Dave had requested to do this particular issue with me, and we recorded it together like months ago, and I had a few Hulk videos before I could get to this one, and in that time I lost the audio file that he gave me for his end of the video. So the video I have was basically me just talking and responding to Dave, but no audio with him. So my fault on that, and my sincerest apologies to Dave. I want to have him back on the channel. If he forgives me, we'll come back and do another video, but I'm ready to get to this one finally, and Dave is traveling, so we cannot re-record. And it's a shame because we had a great discussion about this. So once again, Dave, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please come back on the channel. I always appreciate you helping promote my channel as it is. And if you somehow follow me and don't follow Dave, I'm still going to link his stuff in the description of this video. So go down there and follow Dave. But also, if you don't subscribe to my channel, but you're watching it, go ahead and do that so you don't miss any future videos. Let's go ahead and look into this. John Byrne does the cover on this one. Jeff Purves has done all the covers up to this point, but John Byrne steps in for this one, and I find that really odd. I wonder why. I don't know if there was like a deadline issue, or maybe they didn't like what he turned in for the cover, and John Byrne is very fast, so whatever. It's going to be a bait and switch cover, though. I mean, look at this cover to get your attention. You've got the Hulk taking on the Abomination, Rivals, The Thing, and Wolverine coming at him. This seems like it's going to be an amazing issue, but when there's this many characters coming at the Hulk or whoever, oftentimes it's going to be a dream or something, and that's kind of what we're going to get here. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Great lettering again from Purves as the Soul Man. So in the last issue, it ended on the cliffhanger of Baron Getty, who owns the casino that the Hulk has been working under the alias of Joe Fixit. And he has had enough. He's had enough with the weirdos and stuff that are, always popping up and really causing more problems than Joe Fixit is worth having. So the last issue ended with him saying, "Joe, you're fired." So what do you mean I'm fired? Peter David writer, Jeff Purves penciler, Mary Severin on inks, doing a phenomenal job on this issue. We got our Joe Rosen lettering, Glennis Oliver, colorist, Bobby Chase, and Tom DeFalco as the editor-in-chief. Right away, we can see this Mary Severin inking on the Purves pencils on the very first page. She's inked a couple of issues so far. I think the one before this was when she was really starting to get a handle on Purves's pencils, and this one is really good. Recap of the last issue: the Hulk was fighting the Ghoul, which was this like hitman who had been killed, that the character that we're being led to believe is the devil had pulled out of the limbo pit or whatever and distorted into this creature and basically sent after the Hulk. And the Hulk had put him in a freezer on a meat hook. I mean, that's a great little recap panel, though. I love the angle of the Hulk's face. Again, Purves is really good at the close-ups of the Hulk's face, I feel like. McFarlane was really good at doing like thin panels with a close-up on his eyes and his little tiny nose. But Purves does a really good like full face, I feel like. And here's where essentially Baron Getty is explaining that there's more weirdness that goes along with Joe Fixit than Joe Fixit is helping with. He was good for the first couple of months, but then like the Absorbing Man shows up, and the guy moves in, and all this other stuff that's just going on, and now this weird thing crashes into his casino and his restaurant and stuff, and it's just not worth it all. So, the Hulk is angry about it at first, and he's confronting him. So then the Hulk is threatening Baron Getty, and Baron Getty says, "Go ahead, I can't stop you, Hulk." You know? Of course I know. You think I didn't do some research when I found you super strong when I found a super strong gray bruiser in the middle of the desert? So this whole time he's kind of known he's the Hulk, and but he wasn't changing back and forth into Banner for the longest time. So then Baron Yeti is more or less saying like, go ahead and kill me, but it's all arranged that if you do, the word's going to get out that the Hulk is alive and more super people are going to show up by the truckloads to stop you. So then the Hulk kind of gets a little bit more docile and like, all right, hold on, let's work something out. I think all of this is great though. I love the background texture that he's putting on the page there. I mean, just the way it's going around the Hulk and like adding to that like anger coming off the Hulk. I love this panel with the like action kind of burst around him, and then the lean in on this one where he's like kind of, all right, let's work something out, like the kind of the smirking of his mouth and stuff there. This is all great. I think Purvis is having one of his better issues with the Mary Severin inks. And as the Hulk is trying to convince him that no more weirdness will happen if they can just work things out, look who comes crashing through, our golden rainbow rider, Glorian. And again, like as lame as Glorian is, that's a pretty cool panel of him smashing through a wall. You got the Purvis lettering of the bash, the womb, the bop right there, even the shh coming through as the Hulk, fights him off. And they get out into the streets, and this is where Glorian's going to. Well, now the Glorian's actually asking him for help because Glorian had thought he was working with the Shaper of Worlds, his master, his creator, and it turned out he was working with the devil, who had made him sign his soul away in a contract. So he's there actually to tell the Hulk, like, look, you got to change your ways by midnight, or I'm like being taken away by the devil. And the Hulk is essentially like, why do I care? Like, I don't have to, that means nothing to me. So Glorian starts using his illusion powers and starts having all these people attack him. So you got multiple Wolverines here. Wolverine wearing like the black, more like the patch look here than the brown costume on the cover. John Byrne just wanted to draw his brown costume, I guess. You got Thor. Why do four Wolverines, one Abomination, one Thor, one thing, all these Wolverines? I think that's kind of funny. So this is it. This is your cover image. These 2 pages right here, and that's it. Kind of a shame. It would have been nice to see Jeff Purvis do we've had a thing battle, and even like in the last Glorian issue with the illusions, the thing showed up. We haven't had an Abomination in the Hulk run and the Peter David run at all so far. This is the first time we're seeing the Abomination in the Peter David run. It would have been fun to see Purvis get a crack at doing a Wolverine story, but those things are better when they're really spread out. I mean, we're like almost 20 issues away from it, but it's just better when they're a little goes a long way. And we had the Wolverine 7 and 8 issues too. Of course, there wasn't a brawl in it. Clute shows up. He's like, it's over. You're not going to convince the Hulk the other way. You're mine. And look how he just pops up. He materializes, this is a weird panel. And I think Dave and I discussed it. The way this is drawn, it almost makes it look like he's gigantic over these buildings, but he's just like materializing here in front of Glorian. But it does look weird there. Maybe there was another panel that was like that too. But he can grow big and small because he did in the last issue. And here he grows big and is like lifting Glorian up. And he takes Glorian away, and the Hulk's like, yeah, whatever. Initially. I love the little action stuff they do around the Hulk here, though. He hasn't done that a ton in his run that I can think of, but here we're getting it quite a bit. So Clute takes Glorian out to the Grand Canyon, which is boiling over into his like abyss, I guess you could say, and they're having the discussion about how he sold his soul and stuff. And he's saying it's not fair. I thought you were the Shaper of Worlds, yada yada yada. This is pretty good setup or stage setting here with the Grand Canyon. And look at this. There's the Shaper showing up in the clouds. You've got the ghoulish demons coming up. This is the stuff Purves is having fun drawing. I think there's been issues where Purves doesn't really care about whatever it is the material of that issue is that don't look that great. But on the ones like when he's in Jarella's world or the Hulk versus the Thing and things like that, you can tell he's like cranking it up a little bit. And I think he's really enjoying drawing like this kind of stuff. They're coming to drag his soul down into the pits of hell, more or less, when the Hulk shows up. And I like this interaction too, because Glorian first is like, Hulk, you've come to save me. No, I just left here from Vegas to watch you get yours. A man after my own heart. You can't mean it. You can't let them do this to me. Sure I can. Not such a hot shot now, huh, Glorian? You know, on second thought, I think I'll go back after this and kill Berengetti, and then I'll get Marlowe back, my way. So now the Hulk's kind of feeling a little vengeful. And he'd just worked out kind of a deal with Banner to start kind of coexisting in this little life in Las Vegas. And here it's already just, it's coming to an end. So the Hulk is very irritated. And then they point out, you're very incorrigible this evening. Well, the new moon brings out the best in me. So without getting too bogged down in the details within the dialogue here, but if you've been reading the Hulk, you know when the moon is at its brightest, the Hulk is a little more docile. But when the moon is not there at all, like a new moon, more or less the sunlight reflecting off the moon, right? The moon's still up there. But the new moon, and he's more grumpy and cranky, cantankerous, so to speak. So as they're trying to drag him in there, and the Hulk gets a good look at it, and Clute, who then kind of says like, well, I'm going to get you sooner or later too, Hulk. Like you're going to end up here eventually. It's just a matter of time, sooner than you might even think. Great close-ups again. So then the Hulk kind of has a change of heart, not really for Glorian's sake, but for his own sake. Like Glorian grabs his pants. So he decides, all right, I'm going to save Glorian then, because he's looking down into this, and he doesn't really want any part of it. Even the Hulk is like, well, I don't want to go to hell. Kicks or throws Clute off down into the canyon, and he thinks that's the end of it. He thinks he did his part. I don't know why he would think that's the end of it. You got this guy controlling these demons and stuff. Why would you think that's the end? And here is the first double page spread, I believe, that Purves has done this entire run. And this was the reason Dave wanted to do this book with me. Dave said he was like, looking through a collection that he got, just happened to open this page and saw this spread and was like, wow. So that's why he asked me to do this book with him, is mostly because of this one wild looking page. And like I just said, I think this is the only two-page spread that Purves has done in this run. And it's pretty awesome. My question though, if I were to ask Peter David, why did he use this new character, Clute, instead of using Mephisto? I don't know. I think that's the weird thing about it. When you have like multiple versions of Satan or Lucifer or whatever you want to call him, when you have Mephisto, why would you not use Mephisto? Anyway, it's a gorgeous piece though. I think of, if you could, he could sell this as not even a Hulk page. Just take the lettering off of it, and you just essentially got Satan coming up from. It'd be hard to say that it's the Grand Canyon, but look how little they are. So he's massive coming up. And the Hulk tries to take him on, but of course just gets flicked away. He's got those long bony fingers too, like the Ghoul character did in the previous issues. Somebody pointed out that was very Bernie Wrightson-like. I don't think that's the case in this particular issue, but there's probably a little bit of inspiration in there. So the Hulk tries to take him on, like he just gets flicked away by that long nail, which isn't even a nail. It's like coming out of the fingertip, and sends him flying. Blom. I think that's some of the sound effects too that Purves adds in, I think are great. So then the Hulk decides, like, let's play a game for glory and soul. So the Hulk is trying to set up some stakes to play a gamble of some sort, where if the Hulk wins, he'll get Glorian, he'll save Glorian. He'll also the guy will leave Las Vegas and leave it behind, and he gets his life in Vegas back more or less. So what? You were fired. You have no stake in Vegas anymore. He says Las Vegas, and I may want it for myself. And him emphasizing Las Vegas goes back to Baron Getty saying it in earlier issues. The Hulk likes Baron Getty. He appreciates what Baron Getty had done for him up to this point. He really doesn't want to betray him. And, he's saying, like, I may want it for myself. But really what he's trying to do is saying, like, look, I got rid of that. I got rid of the guy. He's thinking if he does this, he'll be able to get back in with Baron Getty, and that kind of be that. They make this deal, and he says we're gonna do dice. And he drops these gigantic dice, and all this looks it's so comic booky and great at the same time. You've got the Hulk doing a deal with the devil by playing craps with these gigantic dice that only the Hulk could lift up like this. And as he tosses it, and they don't land on what they need to, he jumps with them. And in here, he thinks about Betty, I feel like. Yeah. And in this, when he jumps up with them, he even says, this one's for you, Betty. Out of the blue, he's thinking about Betty. So even earlier, he said, I'm going to get back Marlowe my way. But in this one, he's saying, he's thinking, this one's for you. So he comes down and, like, hits the ground with the reverberating boxcar. I win. I always win. So the Hulk playing a little gamesmanship there. Clute's mad about it because he thinks that he cheated, and the Hulk is like, well, of course you loaded the dice. I mean, we both cheated, but my cheating ended up on top. So Clute at first is like, nope, I'm just going to take Glorian. This deal is void. And the Hulk is coming at him when all of a sudden this big white hand steps in, and it's the Shaper of Worlds. Now, I will say, I felt like this page is a missed opportunity for another splash or a half splash or something to show the Shaper big, to show the scale of the two of them. I mean, you go from this page of him grabbing the arm to this panel that's still kind of small. I mean, it's a good panel and all, but I think that would have been a good excuse to show the scale of the two of them. Shaper of Worlds, though, odd looking character. He looks like an albino scroll sitting on a toaster. So he's an odd character anyway, but if you want to give him some, like, scale or make him more grandiose, I mean, a bigger panel there would have definitely helped. But the Shaper comes in and apparently is more powerful than the devil and is like, nope, Glorian's mine. You lost your bet. Get on out of here. And that's what he does. He drops the Hulk and Glorian. Shaper catches him. Nice of him. Does not let him land too hard. And he takes Glorian and goes home. And the Hulk is just kind of left there, like, stunned. The Shaper kind of scolds Glorian about thinking about his course of actions. And he even says it to the Hulk, too. You might want to do some thinking as well on what your future might hold. It could involve matters of life and death. And after, the Hulk's just kind of stunned, and he jumps off. So that's it for the Joe Fixit era, more or less. Looking ahead, he's been fired. He's no longer Joe Fixit. And that's where sometimes this era of the Hulk, of the Gray Hulk, is so defined by him being Joe Fixit. And I find that quite interesting because as I've gotten comments on this video, and I've seen on Instagram as well, a lot of people were turned off by Jeff Purves, and he did the whole Joe Fixit era. But before that was McFarlane, and then we're going to get Dale Keown, who still does a little bit of Gray Hulk before he becomes the merged Hulk. And I just find it funny that the era with the artist that people appreciate the least is also the era that completely defines the Gray Hulk era. Everybody refers to the Gray Hulk as Joe Fixit. And I find that really interesting to say the least. So that's it for this one. Dave, once again, I'm sorry I lost the audio on it. I did enjoy talking to you about it when we recorded that one time. But until next time, read your comics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my breakdown of this issue, you can support the channel by hitting subscribe. It costs you nothing and helps other comic fans find the channel. You can also visit readyourcomics.com for cool merch, like this. Read Your Comics isn't just a brand, it's a mantra. And when you wear a Read Your Comics shirt, you are helping spread the word. For more classic comics conversation, be sure to follow me on Instagram at read.your.comics. And if you're still here, why not watch one of my older videos? Here or here.